The first type we start with is, are you an extrovert or an introvert? Are you the type of person that thinks inwardly or externally? Both of them are nice, happy people. Both of them are good people. Because you're an introvert, you're not bad, or because you're an extrovert, you're not bad. But, and the way I describe it is this, and I'm talking extremes for the purposes of this. The nearer to the middle you are, the more you are a bit of both. If you are in the middle, you are doing both. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Extreme extroverts. If it even happens that they have a thought, it stays in their brain for a microsecond before it gets to their mouth. Having got to the mouth, it's out. Politicians suffer from this. They say things they didn't mean to if they're extrovert. And if there is nobody there to respond to them, it just disappears. I get so frustrated when I'm talking to my wife, when I talk. And I caught her out the other day. I said something to her, and it went straight past her, out the car, into the wild blue yonder, never to be seen again as a thought. Because nobody stopped. You know the idea of sonar radar, don't you? That it bounces and comes back. Okay, SN. Again, I keep drawing them like that because they are both okay people. N and S, or S and N. It's only N because you get into problems with personality tests. It's intuitive, but you can't have two eyes, so they call it N. Intuitive people. Intuitive people see connections. That's why I thought you were N. You saw a connection in that model that nobody else had seen. They connect things which aren't normally connectable. They might well be resource investigators. They might well be plants because they find conceptual. They might be theorists as well in learning style, because they enjoy the intellectual challenge of putting things together. If you say to an intuitive person, that was a hunch, they'll be very offended because it is not a hunch to them. There's a very clear understanding in their mind as to how they came to that. But it is not the normal way. They're using their imagination. They're seeing patterns. They are understanding and anticipating what might be. They will tell you that the bread market is going down. They will not do that because they've seen evidence, but they will be piecing together the influx of us going to France, the influx of different nationalities coming into this country and bringing different types of culture in, and they'll be saying, I just sense that there's, no, I just know that there's a difference going to happen. They will say the Labour Party is going to have difficulties over the next year. And you go, why? Well, and they'll be putting things together that you haven't normally put together, which is why I thought you were intuitive. The S person says, that's rubbish. You need good information. You need to understand what's going on now to predict the future. You need facts. You need repetition of information to make a pattern, not a pattern coming out of nowhere. You need information that is sequential, that is detailed, to make sense of things. If you are that, you are somebody who can analyze. You can take something and take all the information and come to a conclusion about it because you have understood what the information's telling you. You are entirely different people. Sorry? There might well be reflectors. They might be theorists as well, but from a different angle. They're probably, though, more likely to be pragmatists because they deal in fact. I hope that smile means, yes, this is all working out, not, oh my goodness, I'm completely bemused. And they are very different in meetings. One is asking how, why, what's going on, and the other one's going, couldn't we? Should we? Might we try this? Their language is different. Their engagement is different. You have to facilitate this difference in people. You need to start watching people, listening to broadcasts on the television, taking personalities on there like Tony Blair, John Prescott. John Prescott, I would suggest to you, is an extrovert for a start, not just because he's a jolly ex-seaman, but oh, I didn't mean to say that. You know, 2 Jags isn't just 2 Jags for nothing, it blurts out. Now that doesn't mean he's a bad person, that just means he speaks without thinking. Claire Shaw, extrovert. She's not a life and soul, she just speaks her mind and lets it come out and sees what happens. Peter Lilly, who we don't see much of, is an introverted sensing. He takes a lot of data and he says the drug policy is not going to work. We need a different National Health Service, because he's analysed it. Huge redundancy experience, bereavement, separation from somebody, whether it be a partner or a relative who was very, very close to you. I know somebody whose Myers-Briggs really wobbled when they emigrated from South Africa to England, because the change of culture was so shocking that their Myers-Briggs did a complete changeover. Men in their 50s sometimes go through a complete change as they start looking at trying to be different. So it can happen, and that's the only explanation other than wrongly scoring it or being given a false test. So it should stay fairly robustly where you are unless you've had a life-changing experience, in which case you will understand how you've moved. Okay, it is not about your IQ. It is not about your maturity. It doesn't mean you're ill. It doesn't mean you are vastly intelligent if you get one or the other. It is not measuring anything about your intellectualism or your schizophrenia or anything. It is measuring your type.